cenotaph, and you saw me, and I've got the film, you know, as a black man, to show respect for king and country. And when I saw these yobbos showing disrespect...
So what I will say, when I arrived at 10:30, 11:15, and we were walking down Whitehall from Trafalgar Square, I did see a number of individuals holding cans of beer, holding bottles of beer, carrying Tesco carrier bags full of cans of Stella. When I saw those, I thought, how absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
I thought, that is so inappropriate. This is Remembrance Day, it's a somber moment. What the hell are you doing here with bags full of beer?
That's the point.
And when I saw that, I thought, yeah, clearly there are a number of individuals. There are elements in the crowd who are there to get wasted on alcohol, and we could only predict, but we did subsequently see what they did and how those individuals behaved after they'd finished their cans of Stella. And there were elements that behaved later on in the day appallingly. And now for them to say, oh, we're patriots, we stand for England, we stand for the veterans, nonsense. You don't turn up with carrier bags full of Stella if you're there as a patriot, standing for Britain, standing to remember those that gave their lives for our society. No, you're there for a piss up with your mates and to have a ruck, clear and obvious. And there was, very obviously, it cannot be denied, an element in that crowd that were there for that purpose. But I don't think that was anything to do with Suella Braverman or anything Suella Braverman said. Do we really think those people sat at home in their living rooms listening to what Suella Braverman said? Oh, I know, I'm going to go down Tesco's, get a bag full of Stella and go and create a nightmare in Remembrance Day. I do not blame Suella for that.
I blame Suella for that, and I'll justify the reason why with evidence. Yeah. If you watch what I did yesterday, they were cussing the police, telling them they had brought shame on the country for how, and they want their country back. And the point I'm making, the kind of things Suella Braverman was saying, it was her introducing hate. It was her stirring it up.
Utter nonsense. Utter nonsense.
That's why I'm glad we're arguing. And it was her stirring up hate. It was her who motivated and inspired the right wing to come down. But the point I'm making with the hate, fair enough, it wasn't the hate march, but that hate element was there, and they brought disrespect.
Suella Braverman did not introduce hate to everything. She was commentating on the 3 previous weekends. You're laughing because you know I'm right. She was commenting, she was evaluating the 3 previous weekends and other occasions, but predominantly the 3 previous Saturdays, where it was self-evident the streets were full of hate.
Rubbish.
Full of hateful placards, full of hateful chants.
What's your definition of full? 1 or 2?
Well, I don't know, a streetwide packed with people going on for an hour or 2. That's what I call full.
No, I disagree.
Thousands of people. Thousands of people collectively chanting anti-Semitic Jew hate, collectively in their thousands. And there were 1 or 2 scenarios where someone in those marches spoke out against Hamas. They were beaten and thrown out of those marches. Do not tell me the majority of the people in those marches were peaceful, loving, calm citizens. They are full of Jew hate who could not tolerate anyone speaking out against Hamas, because we saw 1 or 2 very brave individuals who did that, and they were violently thrown out of those marches. So don't tell me they were peaceful marches. They were hateful. They were full of hate. You know, how many scenarios of hateful placards that the police didn't do anything about at the time, but then they put out on social media, oh, do you know this person? You know, there were so many people with illegal banners, basically, and the police are now allegedly hunting the people that held them. Suella Braverman did not instigate hate, she commented on hate.
But would you agree, in her commenting the way she did, and the way, and she knew in commenting it would get reported, as a direct result of it being reported, it would inspire and motivate others to jump on her words and to behave in a disrespectful way. But I'm disagreeing with your assessment because, as you know, I go to all of these marches, because I don't have a life. I'm only joking. And, let's agree there were placards with disrespectful comments. Let's agree on that.
Yeah.
Let's agree.
Well, should we also agree that there were thousands of people collectively shouting and singing chants that were anti-Semitic?
Let's agree on that.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
I'm gonna come.
Imagine if you were Jewish. Imagine if I was Jewish. We could not come into the centre of London week after week after week because the streets are full of people that hate us.
No. Let's say I agree, but on the first day, there was about they reckon about 100,000 people there. Out of that 100,000, there were people there being disrespectful.
They were all chanting from the river to the sea.
When you say all, this is
the majority. It wasn't just like a tiny little pocket over there that were chanting to the river to the sea. The majority of the march. Well, I've seen it. I personally observed it with my own eyes in front of me. Masses of people chanting from the river to the sea.
Let's say.
Have you not heard that? Seen that?
I got it on film.
Right, so the masses were chanting from the river to the sea. Do you deny what that means? What does from the river to the sea mean? What does that mean?
Let's come to that in a minute, but the point I'm making is, I agree, on the first march there was 100,000 people there, there were people chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine would be, I accept that, but the point I'm arguing about is that the perception that's been put out, is that there was 100,000 people there, and there's 100,000 people, all chanting the same thing, all carrying banners saying the same thing. This is the bit I'm
Well, as Douglas Murray very accurately said last week, if you were to have gone on a march one Saturday and you suddenly realised you were surrounded by BNP people saying death to all black people, would you have attended that same march the next week and the next week? No. You as a sensible man would have said, I'm surrounded by vile racist people. I don't want to associate with those people. I'm not going to return to this march next week. You wouldn't do that, would you? Would you? You'd realise these people are vile racists and that you'd conclude you do not want to be associated with them.
Answer that question honestly. And I'm being honest. Me and you can debate with love. 2 weeks ago, in Bridge Street, I was called, a word. I forgot what it was. It was a Christian, fundamentalist Christian, by a gentleman who comes here. To pick up your scenario, I was surrounded, by Muslims, and they verbally attacked me. It was potentially hostile. I've reported it already. Potentially, my life was at risk because, you got Muslims there, and I'm being called a Christian fundamentalist, so everyone then turns on me. But to pick up
because you were being cited as a Christian.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's the reason that they were being aggressive to you.
Yeah, that's correct.
Because they thought you were a Christian.
Yeah, but of Christian fundamentalism. Right. The point I'm making, I returned. That's what I'm disagreeing with you.
No, but you weren't with them. You didn't return to be brothers in arms with them, did you?
No, but
you're here as a cameraman. You film, you observe, you document.
But they don't know what I was doing.
That's you can't. That's not an equal scenario to make a comparison.
I wasn't scared. I returned, but I do note your point.
You would not join and want to be associated as a member of a group who are clearly virulently racist.
But
you wouldn't do that.
But would you
filming it as a documenter is a completely different.
No. Let's agree on that. But yesterday, if you see the footage, you got the right-wing mob. Potentially, they're going to turn against a black man with a camera. But what do? I go in the middle of it.
And did they attack you, or did they? Well, there you go.
No,
there you go.
But I was using.
So we have to be careful with these generalisations.
No,
I've agreed with you. There was some drunken. There was probably some not drunk yobs there who were from football firms who, frankly, were there just to fight. Because let's face it, there are some people amongst us that's their greatest. Enjoyment in life.
You and I went there yesterday to show our respect for those who had fallen.
Yes.
And we did it in a dignified, respectful way.
As most of those
Who were there did.
football lads, right-wing people did as well.
Yeah,
As I tweeted yesterday, it was just before the, or X, what do you call it now? X. I X'd yesterday, and it was before the 2-minute silence, but it was when everyone was peaceful and respectful. And I got a huge response on Twitter or on X, because there was calm and there was silence. And I'm sure people would looked around and said, well, they're football fans, they're right wingers, etc., etc. So exactly, it's just a label, and you can't apply it to everyone. Yes, there were some drunks there, and there were some people that were nothing more than violence, and we all condemn them. They're disgusting.
But the point I'm making is it was exactly the same with the marches. There were elements who are there.
But the entirety of the football lads, or of the right wing, or whatever labels we want to give them, were not there chanting or saying racist things. Well, that in its they weren't all chanting that, but anyway, that's not a racist thing. Because I bet most of them would be happy for you to have this country back as much as they have the country back, because because you're as British as I am, and there will be people amongst them, some of them, that hate me for saying that to you, that you're as British as I am. But I absolutely consider you are as British as I am.
No, of course. But in closing, Steve.
No, we're closing already.
No, but because there's a lot going on, and I can't
especially this, Wally.
We've got a great gentleman behind us. I'm going to interview him, and he's called the Messiah.
I know he is.
No, but not yet.
Although someone told me he was a very naughty boy.
He's going to save the world. We've also there's a young lady just behind you. I can no longer call her. You say that word.
What?
Something woman. I can't call her that name.
I don't know. What do you call her? What woman? Oh.
I can't
covers his microphone.
I can't call her that. But in closing, Steve, like I said...
Can we go back to Suella Braverman?
Yeah, go on, your girlfriend.
I think we all need to realise, especially in our little London bubbles, she speaks out for this country. The vast majority of this country agree with what she says. Here we go.
You need big doo-doo.
She speaks on behalf of the majority of this country.
Wait.
I've had my breakfast, thank you.
No, this is not breakfast. This is breakfast and lunch and dinner.
Oh, are you treating me?
Eh?
Are you treating me?
No, here's black pudding, he's black pudding, I'm not black pudding.
So she speaks on behalf of most of this country. I believe if Rishi Sunak sacks her, she will be the next leader of the Conservative Party. After the Conservatives lose the next general election, as I think every sensible person thinks will happen, she will be our next leader, and she will stand for the majority of this country, who thinks she speaks a lot of sense. And I think she doesn't. What she's often.
Hold on, Steve. I thought a couple of weeks ago, I am a platform,
and I still am a member and a and a spokesperson for reform. However, we have to. Give praise where praise is due, and I think Suella Braverman deserves a lot of praise because, as I said, she speaks for a lot of people. There've been significant surveys after surveys of what British people think about the subjects that she talks about, and the majority of the British population agree with her. She is not a hate monger. No one came out and drank a can of Stella and tried to punch a policeman yesterday because of what Suella Braverman said. The police should be held account. The senior management of the police should be held account. That march should not have been allowed yesterday on Armistice Day, on Remembrance Weekend. It should not have been allowed.
Why not?
Because it's a hate fest that has no respect for Britain. Has no respect for Britain whatsoever. And how dare the organisers of that march, which includes some, Labour Party members, for example, how dare they not have that degree of respect that for one weekend, they could have not, they could have called that march.